What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This will be my first video of the new season. I tried making some videos earlier, but I just couldn't seem to win because I was just trying new teams. But here I finally found a team that works in the Spring Cup with the Shadow Victreebel. I've used him in the past and he does crazy damage, so I figured I'd just use him again since he's number 2. So going into the first match, we're matched up against a Gourgeist, which is a pretty terrible matchup. Here I know this is a Seed Bomb because it's 3 Incinerates to get to the Shadow Ball. So I can no shield this, and then throw a Sludge Bomb. They did get an Incinerate in there, unfortunately. So I will be switching to Togetic, now up a shield, with the new Heat Wave on Togetic, which is a lot better than I expected it to be. I really didn't think Heat Wave was going to be that good, but it seems to really help in this cup because of all the grass types. We can hit them with the Heat Wave here, and they will block it, and switch to their Amoonguss, which isn't really better for them, because Amoonguss is still weak to Heat Wave. We can hit them with a Heat Wave doing big damage, and then we can block this up, assuming it's a Sludge Bomb. And we can switch to our Klefki, which pretty much walls this Amoonguss. It has the charge move set of Foul Play and Sludge Bomb, which are both resisted by the Klefki. So we can sit here and completely farm him down. Their last Pokemon is revealed to be Empoleon, and we're sitting here with 2 Foul Plays loaded, so we can fire them off one after the other. They do end up catching it on the Gourgeist, though, the second Foul Play, which is completely fine. We'll just take them out, and I can switch back to Togekiss and get off another Heat Wave. Heat Wave coming through, and Empoleon is in the red health. He is going to overfarm to pass the Hydro Cannon, obviously, so he can take us out and get a head start against the Klefki. We can sneak in one Astonish here, but they will end up getting to the Hydro Cannon, even though they were still throwing a Metal Sound, which I don't think should be possible, but whatever. Can Victreebel acid him down? Yes, he can. How about that? Victreebel taking the first win on a Steel type with a Poison type fast move. Accidentally click on the Ultra League here. Heading into the next match. Here, the final match of this set. We have our Shadow Victreebel up against a Tentacruel, which is a phenomenal lead. Both of us have the fast move of Acid, but Leaf Blade is faster than anything that he can get to that deals significant amount of damage, so we're always outpacing. He can take the Leaf Blade a lot better than I can take his attack, though, so I will be forced to shield this up or lose my Victreebel. It ends up being the Payback, which is getting more common these days. I can farm up a little bit more energy past the Leaf Blade, so I have energy if he decides to sack. He does not, though, so I'll switch to my Klefki to finish him off and preserve my Victreebel with energy, because that's one of the scariest things you can see in this cup here. Here we've got a second Empoleon in 2 matches. It's a really common Pokemon in this for some reason. Hasn't even been buffed or anything because people are still using Metal Sound, but I guess that it just has a good typing here. Empoleon will be finishing off our Klefki, but Victreebel does have that Leaf Blade ready that we can go ahead and throw. Getting the knockout, and their last Pokemon is their own Shadow Victreebel, which is not a good matchup for us. We can hit them with a Psyshock, but they still have a shield, and they can switch to Tentacruel at any moment, so I can't really throw the attack without the risk of them switching, so I farm up a little extra, but that little extra ends up allowing them to get the move. Now, I think it would have been a CMP tie regardless, so it would have been a loss either way, but, you know, it's rough. We do end up getting the rare candies, though, from the item reward, which is pretty nice, and we do get another Togetic, which is fun. Yep, that's that set. Not a very great Togekiss, transferring that. And we'll just go straight into the next set. Starting off here against Lucy with a Gourgeist in the lead again. This Gourgeist is a little itty-bitty Gourgeist. Still does so much damage, though. We're gonna go ahead and let this go, because once again it's a Seed Bomb, because they only use 2 Incinerates. And we can hit them with the Sludge Bomb, play it the exact same as last time. But they decide to let their Gorgeist go down this time, which is not the exact same. Then they bring in a Azumarill and then switch to Volcanion, which is crazy to me. I didn't expect to see a Volcanion here. I might have gotten that Leaf Blade off if I was still not in shock from seeing that Volcanion. I was surprised to see it there. But he will be throwing the Overheat, which isn't a great choice, especially since I still have both my shields. He did newly get Scald this season, which I'll be making a video next week on because I'm really excited to try that for my Master League Volcanion. So stay tuned for that. Here we're going to let this go because with a lowered attack Volcanion, Klefki is going to be able to farm him down from here, especially with the second attack drop. And their last Pokemon will be Azumarill, which is going to be a long, grueling battle because neither have a high damage output and Azumarill is very tanky. Here we're going to shield up this move to cover for a potential Hydro Pump, which would be the lose condition of this game. It's not a Hydro Pump though, it's just an Ice Beam, so it looks like we're going to be okay on that front. Here we're able to take an Ice Beam or a Play Rough, so we do that just fine, and they try to switch in their Volcanion to catch a move, but there's no move to be caught, and we can just farm down the Azumarill, getting us another win. I ended up going 4-3 with this team, which is a lot more positive than I thought, especially because of the double fairy types and the overall squishiness of this team. Going into the next match here, we're matched up against a regular Victreebel, which is like 13 ranks lower than the Shadow one, which is kind of crazy. Shadow Victreebel just has all that oppressive damage that he can get. I don't know how he wins a CMP tie there. I'm not entirely sure on how that works all the time. He probably just had a better one or something. The IVs were more efficient. I don't know. But I switch in my Klefki, and they actually bring in their Jellicent, which is kind of a terrible choice, considering I'm doing damage with my fast move and my foul play. I decide to let this move go through, and it ends up being the Surf. I wasn't even trying to call something there. I was just going to let my Klefki go down. But they bring back in their Victreebel right into a foul play. And they do end up shielding it up. Now they are 2 shields down, and I have a Shadow Victreebel. That's usually a recipe for disaster for the opponent. I'm going to end up shielding this Leaf Blade here and farming a little bit more, and then switching to Togetic to get a nice catch on the other Leaf Blade that he throws, which puts our lead even more. They bring in their Galarian Weezing, but we have the Psyshock for the Weezing here, which is doing well over half his health. And I was planning on sacking Togekiss here until they let me get to another Psyshock. Or Togetic, sorry. So I figured I can just fire it off here, and that's what ends up happening. I get to the other Psyshock, and I'm able to hit him with it, and then I can switch back to the Victreebel that started it all to farm him down. I initially had Heat Wave on the Togetic because I was fearing Fortress leads Fortress teams because he's ranked number 1, but I didn't see a single Fortress Ferrothorn this whole time. Going into the next match, we have a good lead here against the Jellicent. I can go for a Leaf Blade here to do either massive damage or grab the shield. I'd like to grab the shield here. I end up doing massive damage, so I do switch to Klefki, anticipating a Surf, because I would use Surf, because Victreebel's not very strong, and I'd block it anyway if I was the Victreebel. But he does go for Shadow Ball, and that hurts, but Gourgeist was going to kill us with Incinerates anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We do end up getting the shield from the Gourgeist, which sets up Togekiss to be able to Heat Wave the Gourgeist. I shield here because why not? I've got the shields. They have a lot of energy. I do end up correctly calling the Shadow Ball, and am able to shield it. We can fire off the Heat Wave to get their last shield. And I actually get to the Heat Wave before they get to their move, but they end up switching and catching it with their Wigglytuff. Now that doesn't do much damage, but what will do a lot of damage is the Acid on the Wigglytuff. I can actually farm him all the way down with Acid before he can even get an Icy Wind or even a Swift off. So with that, I can just hit the Gourgeist with a Sludge Bomb, and I can take this victory with still a shield left. Heading into what I believe is the penultimate match here. We are going to have the Shadow Victreebel in against the Mantine. Mantine is a Pokemon that I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm glad. Back when he was around, back before the original Wing Attack nerf, it was so annoying to see him. He's so bulky, and the Bubble Beams make it even worse. Now here I actually forgot that he has Bubble Beam. I was still thinking he had Aerial Ace, so I end up shielding this, and I shielded a Bubble Beam. Even Shadow Victreebel would have taken a Bubble Beam. But the good news is Bubble Beam doesn't do a lot of damage, so Klefki can take it very fine. And there's another Gourgeist. Man, this guy is everywhere. I do have a Gourgeist that I like running in the Open Great League, so I might try him a few times if I'm not, if I have time. I probably won't, though. Here, we are going to be able to get to the foul play before we get farmed down, but they will sink their second shield into it, which is okay by me. Here, I call that they're using the Seed Bomb because they're not at 100 energy, so they can't hit both the Seed Bomb and a Shadow Ball. I do correctly call it there. I let the Seed Bomb go, and I can throw the Shadow Ball, or I can block the Shadow Ball. They switch back in their Mantine, and I switch to Victreebel and farm it down. They bring back in their Gourgeist. I tap the Sludge Bomb. What I should have done was tapped an Acid first, because now when they bring in their Dugong, I'm going to be one short of a move, and all this energy on Togetic isn't going to matter. Now here, I could have won had I thrown the Psyshock first, assuming 3 Psyshocks would have taken out the Dugong, but that might not even have happened, so this battle is going to be a loss with the Aurora Beam Dugong, which I did not see coming at all. That's kind of silly that anyone would use that. Heading into the last match here against Pupitar Pillow, we are going to have the Shadow Victreebel against the Dartrix, which I thought was a phenomenal matchup until I realized that Dartrix actually has Peck. I had no idea that Dartrix packed Peck. Here, I see the Mawile and I see the Fire Fang, and I'm just lost. I don't know where to go. You know, I should have been more focused, you know. So I end up taking a long time to switch, and that will end up costing me later. But for now, we can just hit the Mawile with Heat Waves. They're just going to shield it, though, because Mawile players love their shields. Here, we'll throw another Heat Wave, and they'll just shield it again. Let this move go through. It's another Power-Up Punch. Of course it is. And I do end up getting knocked out, and I end up throwing away all this energy here because Leaf Blade is just shy of the KO, and the Victreebel gets farmed down by the Mawile, and so that's pretty much game over here with the they've got the Gastrodon here. It's over. There's nothing that poor old Klefki can do against the Gastrodon. It's kind of funny that they are using Gastrodon though because of the Mud Slap nerf. Really, you'd think that people wouldn't be using his Gastrodon as much, but this guy did, and it worked out for him. If there was a Pokemon that didn't have Mud Slap, I probably had this battle, but that's whatever. You win some, you lose some. So we can hit the foul play here on the Dartrix, but that's going to be the game, and that will be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to like and subscribe, comment a team that you want me to use, and I will try to use it to the best of my ability. But other than that, have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.